This show furnished by Karl Gerber and Employment Lawyers Group.
It's Talk Radio 790 KABC. You're listening to the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show, and I'm still Karl Gerber. This show is heard every Sunday at this time on this station. My producer said the Talk audience wants to learn something from the show, or there is a substantial possibility they are the same audience who watches mindless reality shows. Here goes, you erudites. Overall, 20% of the population has a disability under the Americans with Disability Act. That is the ADA. But 39% of persons 65 and older actually have what would qualify as a disability under the law for employment purposes. That's correct. A lot of people have disabilities in this country. But really more to the point, did you know there's a difference between the word bougie, and bougie? B-O-O-J-E-Y, bougie, a term used to define an individual who acts as though she is high class when in reality she's ghetto to the core. Bougie, B-O-O-J-E. To strike someone physically or disrespect someone verbally, usually directly to the face. How do you like this slang? Bougie. B-O-O-S-H-I. Now, that's important. Bushi. Generally known as complete B, I can't say the other initial, until, someone testified in this arbitration I had, and then Bushi became synonymous with somebody who doesn't tell the truth. All right. Now for the important part of the show. We have another live guest who I'm sure has some connection, not necessarily bodily fluids, to Rhemus Helms. I introduce to you my guest. What?
Duffy.
Why are you saying that?
Oh, that's my disability.
What is your disability?
Oh, sometimes I just say Duffy.
Do you randomly say anything else?
No.
Then let's do it together. Abba, abba, ooh. Abba, abba, ooh. Abba, abba, ooh. Duffy. I kind of like it. Abba, abba, ooh. Abba, abba.
I just can't say that. It just comes out of me. It just comes out naturally.
Is this a diagnosed disability?
I've been told it's Ubinsky-Dufism syndrome.
Is that a recognized disability?
No.
A disability has to be medically provable in order to have a disability your employer have to reasonably accommodate. They can't take adverse actions against you, such as terminating you from your job, harassing you, or discriminating against you. Novel conditions only one doctor claims to exist are a hard one. Even some recognized disabilities like fibromyalgia, they're not uniformly accepted as disabilities throughout the United States for employment purposes under the ADA and the Fair Employment and Housing Act that we use in California. Forgetting whether the disability is recognized by the major medical community, the disability must affect major life activities with reasonable accommodations.
Well, my disability, it doesn't affect my major activities on life. But wait, sometimes if I hit myself real hard on the back of the head, it stops. Sometimes.
Don't do that. There's some important lobes back there on your head.
My disability must be recognized by Dr. Ubinsky-Dufism. He's the one who coined the syndrome.
Is Dr. Ubinsky-Dufism competent to diagnose a disability where someone starts saying, abba, abba, ooh, and it stops if they hit themselves on the back of their head?
Well, I really wouldn't know. I mean, he's a chiropractor, and doesn't that mean he knows everything about the human body?
No.
I just thought.
I just thought a lot of things, including how in the world a bone alignment issue would cause a man to say, abba, abba, ooh. What does your employer know about your Ubinsky-Dufism?
Well, everything.
What is everything?
Well, they told me that I go into these spells 3 weeks on the dot, and the first spell is always followed by the second spell at the same duration at the first spell. But sometimes I can't stop the secondary bout, but if I pine myself on the back of the head, well, the harder I hit myself, the more likely it will stop. For instance, if I use a rubber mallet, maybe. But now, if I hit myself with a sledgehammer on target, it's going to stop.
Thank the higher powers you won't be having another spell on this show.
You haven't even let me thank you for coming on to this show. I mean, this esteemed show, saying my name.
Nobody has to thank me for coming on to this show. I have to thank them for putting up with this workplace abuse or just play an abusive show.
Can I say my name?
You already said Duffy's name, the guy who's streaming the show on YouTube for all of those listening on YouTube right now.
Then let the AM radio listeners and the internet streamers know I am the one and the only Pia J. BC the third.
Can you decode this and just tell us what all of these initials and letters stand for?
Not on live radio, no.
BC doesn't have anything to do with before Christ, does it?
No.
Okay, British Columbia, maybe?
No.
The backside of somebody?
Yes.
Is Pia J. BC the third your real name?
My mommy and poppy took one look at me and bequeathed my name upon I.
Wonderful, plus a king's crown. Does your Ubinsky douthism have anything to do with your reasons for coming on to this fine Sunday evening program heard on this station from 7 to 8 every week?
I think it does.
Do you have an actual employment problem, or are you just aiming to present a number of weird facts to me?
I got fired from Nouvelle Vague Novelty Toys.
Don't tell me Rhemus Helms sent you my way.
Rhemus Helms, the most important man in Sun Valley? No, his brother Demas. Demas Helms got me onto the show.
I see a pattern of these shows. One person shows up and tells us about something, and then on the next show, somebody we heard about or something we heard about stumbles into this studio in full flesh and weirdness.
Are you calling me weird?
Not yet, but I probably should.
I was laid off. My position of warehouse manager was eliminated.
Can the company function without a warehouse manager?
Well, they're trying something novel at Nouvelle. They're going to have a virtual warehouse.
I've heard of a virtual office and a lot of allegedly virtual concepts which haven't actually and aren't existing yet. But how does one ship New Wave Novelty Toys with a virtual warehouse?
I believe it was in your episode 3 of your show where a lady came on, Cindy D, and talked about a 1-900 number that people can call and pay by the minute to cry. Sometimes, but not all the time, there was somebody listening on the end of the phone.
How does this relate to a virtual warehouse?
Okay. A crying line of sort kind of had a virtual telephone operator. In fact, sometimes no one was on the other end of the line. People just cried into nothingness. No one there.
This is too existential for me, even though I named my son Sartre.
You do understand that Nouvelle Vague is a novelty toy company, don't you?
I wish this guy could speak French. I think it's Nouvelle Vague. Yes, I understand it's a novelty toy company, and I presume that that's why you're pulling out this really weird prop. And oh, God, it's like chattering teeth. I haven't seen one of these things since the 80s. Does anyone even buy that stuff anymore? Whoa. Okay, yes. I often feel whoever is lined up as my guest on the show, that person or those persons, are playing a practical joke on me.
So you do understand that we're in the business of practical jokes. And that's why I don't see why you have a problem with Nouvelle Vague having a virtual warehouse.
For one, if you got fired, I'm not understanding the virtual warehouse thing. 2, I still don't understand the virtual warehouse thing. I guess that's kind of one and the same.
In this particular situation, the virtual warehouse is no warehouse at all. There's nothing, nothing. There's no warehouse at all.
Are novelty toys going to be stored somewhere else?
No, and that's the joke. See, customers purchase online and told that, well, take for instance, a dollar bill of our president wearing an adult diaper. Well, instead of the gag gift actually being shipped to these individuals, the customer's email, we got you. We don't have a warehouse anymore. We don't have, and you've only paid 4 cents for a Trump bill, and you'll never get it.
Sounds like fraud on the customers. So, we're going to be coming back and finding out more about this Nouvelle Vague fraud. We had a guest last week, I believe his name, how can I ever forget, is Rhemus Helms. If you feel like listening to old episodes of the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show, of course, that's what you're listening to, and I'm Karl Gerber, a real labor lawyer. You could go to workplacelawyer.org and listen to old episodes. If you'd like to call me off air about a real labor law problem you're having, a termination or owed wages, maybe sexual harassment, you should do that. My number is 877-525-0700. Once again, 877-525-0700. That's 877-525-0700 to talk to a real labor lawyer. And when we come back, we're going to find out more about this virtual warehouse concept where it's really no warehouse at all, and there appears to be a layoff. There's a man with a very unique disability.
Since 1993, the Employment Lawyers Group has been a consistent force in fighting for the rights of California employees. They've represented thousands of employees in cases in which they've lost their jobs, been sexually harassed, discriminated against at work, or owed wages individually or as a group such as a class action. The Employment Lawyers Group has maintained a high win rate and a serious record before the California courts. Please call 877-525-0700 for an experienced work lawyer. That's 877-525-0700. They have call takers standing by. Online, research the firm at worklawyerca.com. They have offices throughout Southern California. If you hire the Employment Lawyers Group, your legal problem becomes theirs to solve.
When working at a growing business, you wear many hats. The new business hat, the buying toner for the copy machine hat, the sifting through tons of resumes hat. You can throw away that last hat thanks to Indeed.com. When posting your job, Indeed lets you add screener questions that give you a less time-consuming route to your short list of qualified candidates. So go ahead, dust off that extra long lunch hat. Hiring's better when you've got your short list. Save time on hiring when you post a job on Indeed. Get started today at Indeed.com/hire.
IT orchestration stories from CDW. Lattes, ping pong, a developer's headquarters had everything, but their mobile sales force had nothing. So CDW orchestrated a mobility solution using the Lenovo Yoga 370 2-in-1 with Intel Core i7 processors featuring large sharp displays and 4 flexible modes to work, present, create, and connect. Powerful portability by Lenovo. IT orchestration by CDW. Learn more at cdw.com/Lenovo. CDW. People who get it.
Results may vary, not a solicitation for legal services. If you owe the IRS back taxes, payroll taxes, or have not filed your returns, the IRS will get you. They can take your property, take you to court, even put you in jail. With one call to Wall, you'll never need to talk to the IRS again. Our average client settles for about 10% of what is owed. We offer free face-to-face consultations in your local area. Call 800-727-0433. That's 800-727-0433.
When working at a growing business, you wear many hats. The new business hat, the buying toner for the copy machine hat, the sifting through tons of resumes hat. You can throw away that last hat thanks to Indeed.com. When posting your job, Indeed lets you add screener questions that give you a less time-consuming route to your short list of qualified candidates. So go ahead, dust off that extra long lunch hat. Hiring's better when you've got your short list. Save time on hiring when you post a job on Indeed. Get started today at Indeed.com/hire.
Yes, this is Talk Radio 790 KBC. That's KBC in English. I'm Karl Gerber. You're listening to the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show. I really am a real labor lawyer, and welcome to law school, because in law school, they do hypotheticals just like you're hearing on the show, where they don't stand up at the board and say the elements of battery are intent, a harmful contact. It's all hypotheticals like you're hearing on this show. Tonight we're talking to PJ BC III, who is an interesting character. He's been diagnosed with a syndrome by a chiropractor, and he says, ubba, ooh, Duffy, every 3 weeks. But if he hits himself on the head very hard, maybe with a sledgehammer, it stops. I was trying to find out what his employment problem is. We've heard about Nouvelle Vague Novelty Toys with Demas and this fine actor here. I presume he's an actor because, like, who else would be this weird? Brought in these chattering teeth. And I want to get back to this conversation with him to figure out what's going on.
Well, as I said, I did complain about the virtual warehouse, and I thought it was a very bad idea. I said for 4 cents for a joke like that, it might be funny, but for $39.99 for a couple's underwear that a couple can't even fit in together, now that's taking something for nothing.
The couple might be too beamy to fit in the underwear together.
No, it's never going to be shipped. The joke's on the customer. We have a virtual warehouse that doesn't even exist, and it only has virtual products.
I'm wondering, what can you get at Nouvelle Vague Novelty Toys for a 9 bill?
A 9 bill?
Yeah, 9 bill for someone like the $9 bill we heard a couple weeks back.
I just can't believe you just said that on commercial TV radio. I'm sorry.
Did you use the word fraud when you complained about charging a customer $39.99 for couples' underwear that would never be shipped from the virtual warehouse?
I said it just like I told you.
You complained about a fraudulent business practice, and that would be unlawful under Business and Professions Code 17200 on the basis that it was deceptive. It was a fraudulent business practice, and it is an unfair business practice to tell customers the joke's on them when they buy from a virtual warehouse that doesn't exist and will never ship the product they were charged for. If you were fired for complaining about that, that's wrongful termination.
Do you think that my complaint is the reason why I got laid off?
When did you complain? But who cares? Because there isn't going to be a warehouse anymore, which defeats a potential retaliatory termination claim for complaining about something illegal. What's you gonna do if there's no warehouse to manage anymore?
Well, I only spent about 20% of my time managing the warehouse.
What else did you do?
Well, of course, I tested products. I made a lot of personal phone calls. I joked around with Demas. I rode the scooter around the warehouse. And, I actually skateboarded. And, those concrete warehouse floors are very smooth, and they're good for me and my skill level. See, I do these front side 180s all the time.
Sounds like you had a virtual job.
Yeah, you got it. I mean, I got you to believe me.
What part of your absurd story did I fall for?
All of it.
Nothing you just told me is true. Not even your name.
No. The only thing I flubbed was only spending about 20% of my time managing the warehouse.
How much time did you spend managing the warehouse?
No, about 40% of the time.
Do you really do frontside 180s in the warehouse on your skateboard?
Yeah, of course. And everyone would come out their offices and out of other buildings to watch me.
It's a true pity that you lost such a mentally and physically demanding job.
But really, do you think they fired me because of my disability, or telling them that they shouldn't have charged $39.95 for couples' underwear that they really never shipped?
If either reason was a substantial motivating factor for your employment termination, there would be a case for wrongful termination. But the problem here is the warehouse is gone.
Yeah, the warehouse is so gone. I mean, it's really gone. I mean, Demas had Rhemus Helms bring in this coyote costume guy who dynamited he just blew up the whole place.
Oh no, that's terrible. Did he go to jail?
Who, Demas? No. The costume actor did, though. They stopped him in this Dodge panel van 67. It had white walls and all. And they said, there was no way that he could see driving around Lawndale with that bandit mask on. He almost crashed into one of those big digital billboards advertising a show claiming that you are an expert in employee rights. So, are you?
There are quite a few things we need to sort out right now. My level of competence should not be questioned, but I'm going through one of these doozies with fictional characters challenging all sensibilities, but more importantly, illustrating the finer points of employment law. But I must ask, did Demas have permission to dynamite the warehouse?
Of course he did. This whole thing was filmed and put on YouTube, and the land is being repurposed and for mixed use. So yes, he did.
Okay, so if you did work unrelated to the warehouse, and the warehouse workers who did non-warehouse work were reassigned elsewhere, but you weren't because of your actual or perceived disability or whistleblowing, there might be a case.
Are you sure that I have this disability? The disability law, under the disability law, few lawyers, they didn't think I did.
Well, there are also perceived disabilities. If your employer perceived you as having a disability, they can't take adverse employment actions for that.
They didn't just perceive, man, they told me I needed to get some meds to stop this thing. They said I needed meds every 3 weeks. And they also said I might not be able to ride my skateboard in the warehouse anymore because of my disability made me say, that thing. And I don't even know what I'm saying. And it comes up so subconsciously that I might even, I have more than just a disability, and that's just what that thing, and just riding around and jumping and turning on my 101 wheels might just be dangerous if I have this disability.
This guy's got 101A skateboarding wheels. He sounds like a pro, and he's doing this in the middle of the workplace. This is a very unsafe workplace. Was riding your skateboard, Piaget, a substantial job function? Did the employer really have reason to believe you saying "abba abba ooh" could cause you to fall when doing stunts on the ultra smooth floor of the crowded warehouse?
Nouvelle Vague Novelty Toy Company is a creative company. Skateboarding motivates everybody. Besides, Demas loved to check out my physique. For the purpose, when I was in the air for art purposes.
All right. So, notwithstanding you saying "abba abba ooh," they didn't think doing jumps in the warehouse was dangerous. Presumably there were forklifts and pallet jacks moving around and lots of materials.
Well, what we tried to do is keep everything liliputian style, and I guess you know what that means, right?
You didn't keep much stock in the warehouse?
We shrunk everything down.
Shrink wrap?
No, like everything plastic. We heated it until it shrank.
Doesn't that cause cancer?
I think so.
Are you sure Rhemus Helms didn't really run Nouvelle Vague Novelty Toys?
He's a countervailing force that runs most of the operation, at least most of Annyworth in California. But no, I don't think, not really.
Okay, so you're listening to the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show. I'm still Karl Gerber, and that's definitely my problem. And I want to let you know that you can give me a call off air to talk about a real labor law problem at 877-525-0700. Once again, that's 877-525-0700. 877-525-0700. We've learned that disabilities in employment can be actual or perceived. perceived disabilities are very much like stereotypes. A lot of times people do have a condition that disables them, but with reasonable accommodations, they can do a job. And the employer who is stereotyping someone just thinks that they should be cast aside, they shouldn't work because they have the disability. And sometimes people don't even have a medical condition that's a disability, but the employer thinks they do, and that's a perceived disability. We've also learned that if you can't do your job because of the disability, with reasonable accommodation, that's not what disability law is about in employment. We've also learned about wrongful termination. Wrongful termination is not you're fired because your boss doesn't like you. It's not that you're fired because the company is closing down, eliminating their warehouse, moving on. It's because somebody complained about something that's actually illegal. One of the things that we get in cases is someone complained about fraud. In this episode, it appears that this gentleman, this fine gentleman, PJ BC III, complained that selling couples underwear for $39.99, that couples would never get shipped because the warehouse went virtual, which means no warehouse at all. He complained that that might be fraud, it might be wrong. And if that was why he was fired, that could be wrongful termination. But the wrinkle we're getting in this is the warehouse was dynamited by some coyote bandit cosplay person that Rhemus Helms found for Demas. And if that's the case, there's no warehouse at all. And so it really doesn't matter what he complained about. There's a layoff, the job's eliminated anyways. So when we come back, we're going to talk more about this warehouse where we're getting some really interesting people that seem to be getting laid off from it. First, we had Demas last week who thought it might have been age.
Since 1993, the Employment Lawyers Group has been a results-oriented law firm whose goal is to get the client what they deserve. They've represented thousands of California employees who've lost their jobs, been sexually harassed, subjected to employment discrimination, or were owed wages on an individualized or group basis, such as a class action. They have a high rate of success. There are few situations involving employment law that they have not confronted. At the forefront of employee rights, they're often the first employee law firm to confront a new legal issue. For an experienced employment lawyer, call 877-525-0700. That's 877-525-0700. They have call takers standing by. Online, read more about the firm at employeelawca.com. They have offices throughout Southern California. Make your work problem theirs to solve.
Earnings vary based on your effort. Message and data rates may apply. Do you want to learn how to make money flipping houses right here in the greater Los Angeles area? If so, we have an amazing opportunity for you. We're looking for a small group of motivated individuals to join our real estate investing team. You'll learn our simple 3-step system for flipping homes right here in the local area. This is Than Merrill, star of A&E's hit TV show Flip This House. My team and I are looking for a handful of people in the greater Los Angeles area who want to learn how to make money flipping houses in your spare time using other people's money. The greater Los Angeles area is a perfect market for my system, and next week I'm holding a free 2-hour educational workshop where you will learn how to make money flipping homes and how to build long-term wealth with income properties.
To get 2 free tickets to Than's workshop, text your 5-digit zip code to 82,000. Seating is extremely limited, so text your 5-digit zip code to 82,000. Text in the next 10 minutes, and you'll also reserve a free copy of Than's Money for Deals guide. Just text your zip code to 82,000.
IT orchestration stories from CDW. Lattes, ping pong, a developer's headquarters had everything, but their mobile sales force had nothing. So CDW orchestrated a mobility solution using the Lenovo Yoga 370 2-in-1 with Intel Core i7 processors featuring large sharp displays and 4 flexible modes to work, present, create, and connect. Powerful portability by Lenovo. IT orchestration by CDW. Learn more at cdw.com/Lenovo. CDW. People who get it.
Talk Radio 790, KABC News Update. I'm Steve Cumming. Unprecedented and explosive.
KABC's Jim Roop reports those are the words veteran firefighters are using to describe the deadly and devastating wildfires burning in Northern California.
You cannot predict where this fire's going next.
The so-called car fire that has killed 6 people so far, with more people still missing, is moving as if it's being pushed by strong winds. The weather created by the fire itself has resulted in fire tornadoes and a split into 3 fronts. There are several fires raging across the state, all erratic, all unpredictable.
Donald Trump's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, says the president may be open to an interview with special counsel Robert Mueller, even if it involves some questions about alleged obstruction of justice in the federal investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election. KABC SoCal weather, partly cloudy tonight with patchy fog after midnight and lows in the mid-60s to around 70. More news coming up and continuous coverage on KABC.com. I'm Steve Cumming, Talk Radio 790, KABC News.
Audible is making summer a little bit sweeter for Amazon Prime members. For a limited time, you can join for just $4.95 a month for your first 3 months and enjoy the stories you love outdoors. Use the Audible app and sit poolside with J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Or hit the beach with Stephen King's The Outsider. You'll get 1 credit a month good for any audiobook. Exchange any you don't like. Summer is the perfect time for this Prime member offer. Get it now at audible.com/Prime.
Talk Radio 790 KBC. You're listening to the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show. I'm Karl Gerber, a real labor lawyer for employees in California. Before we broke, we were talking to PGA BC III, who's got a layoff situation. He's not sure if it's disability or wrongful termination. I want to pick up where we left off. I don't know where we left off in a situation like this. So, PJ, were others in the warehouse offered positions somewhere else?
Well, there was Enrique, and he was offered a job playing virtual games.
Was this all in someone's head? In other words, Enrique wasn't going to really play anything but on his own imagination, right?
No. The game division was very, very popular. The VR game called Chaos, it was all bug on bug. I mean, even I put on the virtual stuff and even the costume, and it felt very, very real. And so, well, I was kind of so embarrassed because I felt like eating a leaf after playing the game.
What did Enrique do in the warehouse?
Well, he was my supervisor.
You reported to him?
Oh, no, he reported to me.
How much did Enrique make?
About $80,000 a year plus 1,000 free Nouvelle virtual tokens a month. That can be worth a couple of hundred, depending on the game.
Pretty high salary for a warehouse supervisor to a guy who goofed off 60% of the time.
Yeah, but Enrique, he worked very, very hard. He did most of the work. I mean, I'm working on my MBA at Laminated Berry, and I didn't really have time to do much work.
Are you looking for another job now that you have been laid off?
Well, right. Well, right now, I'm just sort of like taking it real easy, catching up with a lot of things that I couldn't do before because I was so busy at Nouvelle.
If you aren't looking for a job, the damages are a bit existential in your case. The big damage in wrongful termination is lost wages, but if you've taken yourself out of the labor market, you can't claim lost wages.
Well, I really haven't taken myself out of the labor market. I'm just looking for other opportunities.
It's that point in the show where I have an unusual guest, and I have to say, I hate to ask, here it goes, I hate to ask, but what other opportunities are you looking into?
Concert pianist.
Is that something you have a lot of experience in?
Not necessarily, but I really know I would be a real good one.
Presumably you're musically inclined, you read music, you play another instrument, maybe?
Well, I've always enjoyed playing the kazoo after dinner, especially if peas were served, especially those organic honey and organic English peas from the good farmer's market down the road. But I really don't read music, but I do have a good sense of what comes next.
In order to legitimately claim lost wages after wrongful termination, the employee has to make a good faith effort to go out and look for a comparable job. How much were you being paid, PJ?
About $146,351 a year, plus benefits and all the Nouvelle game credits I could get.
Have you calculated the value of all that?
That all equals up to $176,319.13.
Fairly unreasonably high salary to manage a warehouse and ride a skateboard. Putting that aside, you have the duty to look for a job managing a warehouse. You can't just focus on liliputian warehouses or the fake virtual ones, although I know there are a lot of enjoyable opportunities there. You also have a duty to look for a job maybe supervising a warehouse, maybe professional skateboarding, given your talent for that, and that there were spectator audiences that presumably follow you on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and via BUS, tram, car, and Surrey. If the job you had managing a miniature warehouse is only worth maybe $60,000 a year or $80,000 a year, you might have to take a job that pays that. The difference in your new salary is future lost wages.
But Nouvelle, they offered me a job in their warehouse in China.
Every case has an interesting wrinkle. Here it's hard to say the company had discriminatory animus towards your actual or perceived disability, which is so odd. I'm not sure what a judge or jury will think of it. If they offered you another job, the same problem exists for wrongful termination, but I doubt they thought you would pick up a move to China.
Well, my wife's from China, and of course there's a lot of family there, and I'm actually quite fluent in both Mandarin and Cantonese.
Presumably you aren't moving to China because you're in school at Laminated Berry.
Well, exactly, but once I get my MBA, I'm seriously considering relocating to Beijing. You know, the job opportunities there for a classic piano they're just tremendous.
I've heard there's a rise in interest in Western classical music in China.
See, you know.
I'm just not with this case. It's got a lot of buzzwords like complaining about fraud and disability discrimination, but the facts don't match up. The whole warehouse is gone, blown up, in fact. Besides, you were offered a job in China where you admit you're linguistically fluent in 2 of the major dialects there, and you want to relocate there anyways in order to play classical piano.
I was just pulling your leg. You know, the thing about classical piano in Beijing being big in Beijing is, I just made that up. And the factory isn't even located in that city anyway.
Unless a lot of warehouse people were retained and they all earned the kind of money you earned, I don't see a case. Whereas offering less skilled, lower paid workers a job somewhere else might be feasible, a skateboarding expert like you, who was paid $176,000 a year, might be a salary difficult to match at another job in the company.
I wasn't hired to do skateboard tricks.
If a potential client, fictional or not, tells me something completely irrelevant that they claim is significant, I should have literary license to show how absurd it is when analyzing the legal issue.
Okay, then so what should I do?
You aren't looking for a comparable job. There seems to be no case. Why get into an invalid lawsuit or write a demand letter and make the company mad at you?
Okay. So how much do-re-mi would you demand in this that I get from this letter?
I don't do demand letters, but there are lawyers I refer cases to who I have a feeling maybe less than 10% of the time they send out these demand letters are even responded to. And out of that, half of them settle for peanuts, no serious money at all.
Well, I might need Nouvelle Vague as a reference. And see, I worked there for over 9 years.
All the more reason not to burn a bridge for a $5,000 or $12,000 settlement.
Yeah, but help me out. I could really use some money, only if it's a few $1,000s. I've got school loans to pay off.
Well, there's a shady, not very good, actually incompetent lawyer I've heard about on this show named Dumas. I bet he'd do a demand letter for you.
I've actually talked to him. Demas knew him, and he's Lisa Glickman's lawyer. Now, Lisa Glickman is that real estate broker that's being sued by 2 of her ex-employees. Well, Dumas, well, he told me that he was up to his bloodshot eyeballs with her case. Or what that means, in other words, that his goal was to bill her for 15 or 16 hours a day defending her. So it just wouldn't look right. I don't think so if he took on another case.
This is an interesting dilemma. I'm hearing something not confidential from a potential fictional client that another fictional client should know about. Actually, you don't lose anything, P.J., if I tell Lisa Glickman about Dumas gypping her, or do you need a second opinion on whether you should waive the attorney-client privilege you don't have anyway because you are on live air talking about your legal problems?
Well, I didn't like Dumas anyway. To tell Miss Glickman whatever you want, okay? Whatever she wants to do, if she wants to subpoena me to testify, to go ahead. Dumas, well, his office was one room that you had to get into by sashaying through this Nuru massage clinic, and then, wow, it was in the shady part of Tarzana. Well, that may have been Reseda. But he had so much unopened case mail stacked up in the ceiling. If Lisa Glickman ever walked in and ever saw his office, I'm sure she would, her and her St. John satin liquid buttocks would never have hired her, this shyster, in the first place. I mean, he should get disbarred tomorrow. The clients of the state of California would be much, much, much better off.
You said it. You're listening to the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show. Please contact me off air to talk about legal problems at 877-525-0700. Once again, 877-525-0700. That's 877-525-0700. This is, of course, Talk Radio, KABC 790. When we come back, we're going to talk more to P.J. about his case.
No, doctor, no, 'cause I know what the amen means.
The Employment Lawyers Group is a results-driven law firm whose goal is to get the right result for the client. They have represented employees with a high rate of success since 1993 throughout the state of California. They're only paid and if they are able to collect money from the employer, so there's not any upfront fees or costs in order to hire them. They have represented thousands of employees who've been terminated from their jobs, sexually harassed, subjected to employment discrimination, or are owed wages in an individualized or group basis such as a class action. Call 877-525-0700. That's 877-525-0700. They have operators standing by. They can also be reached at employeelawca.com. They have offices throughout Southern California. Hire them and make your workplace problem theirs to solve.
Earnings vary based on your effort. Message and data rates may apply. Do you want to learn how to make money flipping houses right here in the greater Los Angeles area? If so, we have an amazing opportunity for you. We're looking for a small group of motivated individuals to join our real estate investing team. You'll learn our simple 3-step system for flipping homes right here in the local area. This is Than Merrill, star of A&E's hit TV show Flip This House. My team and I are looking for a handful of people in the greater Los Angeles area who want to learn how to make money flipping houses in your spare time using other people's money. The greater Los Angeles area is a perfect market for my system, and next week I'm holding a free 2-hour educational workshop where you will learn how to make money flipping homes and how to build long-term wealth with income properties.
To get 2 free tickets to Than's workshop, text your 5-digit zip code to 82,000. Seating is extremely limited, so text your 5-digit zip code to 82,000. Text in the next 10 minutes, and you'll also reserve a free copy of Than's Money for Deals guide. Just text your zip code to 82,000.
Walgreens has good news for anyone managing diabetes. We've got your back. That's right. Walgreens pharmacists are here to consult with you in person and answer any questions you may have about new and existing medications. You can even get free advice from our trusted experts day and night at Walgreens.com or the mobile app. Walgreens has all major brands of diabetes testing supplies like Accu-Check and Walgreens Trimetrix. That's not just good news, it's great news. Stop by and talk to your Walgreens pharmacist today. Walgreens, trusted since 1901.
If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, please call this toll-free number right now. 800-390-9528. That's 800-390-9528. By calling your addiction team, you're taking the first steps to recovery. The help you need could be one call away. 800-390-9528. Make the free call now. 800-390-9528. Your addiction team is a third-party advertiser for various treatment centers and placement networks. Individual results will vary. Visit youraddictionteam.com/turns for more information.
One word, one text could land you $1,000.
Are you serious?
No.
Ah, that's awesome. awesome!
It's 4K a day. Listen at 6, 9, noon, and 3. Hear the keyword and text it to 95819 for your shot at $1,000. And while $1,000 is a lot of money, it's not as valuable as your life. So please don't text and drive. But do text and win.
I'm Wendy. Keep listening to win $1,000 just like me.
It's 4K a day on your big money station, 790 KABC.
Talk Radio 790 KBC. This is the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show. I'm Karl Gerber, a real employee lawyer. Before we broke, we were talking to PJ BC III, and we're going to get back to that conversation. PJ, what else do I need to know about your situation?
Well, I wonder, do you think I breached that attorney-client privilege when my wife was in the room and with well, damn. The two of us barely fit in that room, that cramped office. You know, I have a size 14 shoe.
I won't tell that to Rhemus Helms, at least that thing about your shoe size. A spouse can't be compelled to testify against another spouse in a civil case.
Well, we're really not actually married. We just been together for 11 years and we have a child.
It's very important that when speaking to an attorney, whether you hired the lawyer or not, that nobody else is in the conversation. If the attorney's staff is in the conversation, they don't count. But non-spouses, boyfriends, girlfriends, and friends for moral support cause the attorney-client privilege to be waived. I will not meet with clients who have overpowering non-spouses in the room who demand to be in the meeting so they can control the litigation and breach the attorney-client privilege. I just won't do that disservice to somebody who wants legal services. Besides the control factor, the third party could be required to testify about all of the bad things and difficulties I discussed about the client's legal problems.
Mm-hmm. So if I want to call another attorney just to see if I should sue, I shouldn't make the call from the gym or my car when I'm driving for Uber.
Conversations with lawyers are important. It's important that the lawyer be able to hear you. Bad cell signals are unfair to the lawyer. Background noise is distracting to both of you. The potential of third parties hearing what you're saying or what the lawyer is saying is a no-no.
So what should I tell unemployment?
Is there paperwork saying why you were fired?
Yeah, but I don't know what I did with it.
Employees need to save important paperwork from their job. Papers that explain the reasons for termination are obviously going to be an exhibit in an employment lawsuit or even in a disputed unemployment hearing. I'd prefer the clients not guess at things. If hard facts are on pay stubs, termination letters, performance reviews, medical notes, advising their employer of the nature and duration of a medical leave or a diagnosis, I want to read it. We can't reinvent facts.
Well, a few years ago, Nouvelle got into this bougie thing, and all the pay stubs were online, and we couldn't only print them if we were at work. I mean, everything went electric.
Pay stubs need to be available to employees off-premise. There could be a $100 fine for each pay stub not really tendered to the employee because it sounds like those were kept under the control of the employer. Some employees might not have time to study them when they're at work, and they couldn't show these pay stubs to lawyers if they thought they were wrong. So the practice at Nouvelle Vague Novelty Toys sounds like it violates the spirit of California Labor Code Section 226.
Want to see my pay stubs?
Why?
Well, mainly for the artwork Demas created. I'm not really one of those Tom of Finland type, but I know good art when I see it. And you'll agree if you see the pay stubs that you can subpoena them.
An actual lawsuit has to be filed to subpoena something. I wonder if people think contingency lawyers like me are just sitting around with oodles of time to perform idle and useless tasks for free, like subpoenaing pay stubs so we can see the artwork on them, which is not exactly a legitimate reason for exercising a discovery right like a subpoena. A subpoena is part of the discovery process in a lawsuit.
Well, even if you won't subpoena my pay stubs because there's no valid reason for doing so. You know, I'm so glad that we had the time to come on your show and go through these issues with you. I understand employment lawyers do not normally have an hour to go through such a potential case with every client like me.
It is true that employee lawyers have to quickly screen out the calls that are no-goes. Most new client callers do not have a case, and many of the calls we get in the real world are as absurd as the scripting on this show. How do you think I come up with all this material every week? The new client calls that are cases, I or one of my lawyers will talk to the potential client for 10 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes before they come in. To some extent, it is unfair for the client to expect to talk to the lawyer for more than 10 or 15 minutes because so many of them never show up for their initial appointments. They never even call the counsel. That's very abusive to the employee lawyer's time to live their life. Too many people are too concerned about finding a lawyer in the exact city they're in, which is not always realistic. Tons of competent employee lawyers are not hanging out in Southgate or Palmdale or even Gardenia. If you want someone who really knows their stuff, there are only a few in the greater Los Angeles area, and the client needs to make the effort. After all, the lawyer is doing the case on a contingency and advancing all of the costs for court.
Well, can I have your number? I'd like to give it out to all my friends that were fired from their jobs, whether it's sexual harassment or they owed a lot of wages like me or like your commercials say.
Yes, my office number is 877-525-0700.
I want to repeat that like you do on your show because you're my hero now. You know, like Karl Gerber, the workplace lawyer, the real lawyer who acts out these employment fantasies. Let me try this. For a real California employee lawyer, an experienced one, call 877-525-0700. That's 877-525-0700. Once again, 1-877-525-0700. Hey, Karl, have a great Sunday. Have to take the rest of the day off. Thank you, Karl Gerber.
You know, I'm thinking Piaget should be an announcer. That was some pretty good announcing of my phone number. Gee, I wasn't expecting that. At any rate, as usual, when it's a scripted episode, we've learned an incredible amount without even realizing it. And on the last segment, we learned about how important it is, which I think most people should know, to keep their important employment records. The pay stubs are like x-rays to me. I said that on these shows. So are medical records. I need the actual diagnosis. I don't want to hear someone has this problem and they don't know what it is. We need the actual diagnosis. We need the medical paper if you have it. If there's a paper saying why someone's been fired, we really need to see that because the employer has went on record with a reason that may be an invalid reason. It may be pretextual, and then it becomes my job to show that that's not really the reason for termination. Some other reason is like disability, some sort of discrimination, or some whistleblowing. So that is important. The other thing is attorney-client privilege. I don't think enough people understand it. It's been in the news a little bit lately with some tapes and things like that, but it really is important because whatever you tell an attorney, whether it's your lawyer or not, you've got to have an expectation that this person is, going to be helping you. If the person clearly says there's no attorney-client privilege or whatever, maybe it doesn't apply. But if it's somebody who's a lawyer or you think is a lawyer and you talk to them about a legal matter, whatever you say to that person is confidential, and the privilege dies with the client. The lawyer can't waive it. The client can waive it. But what defeats the attorney-client privilege is having other people in the room, and you just shouldn't do it. When you go into a doctor's office, you don't usually go into the room with all your friends and undress. That's just not how it is. So why should you do yourself the disservice, go into the lawyer's conference room with a bunch of people that are not in the case? That just breaches the attorney-client privilege. And all those people that show up to those meetings, they can go be subpoenaed to testify. Now, in California, spouses are not going to be capable of being subpoenaed in a civil case, I think that's different in a criminal case. And spouse, I think, still means married. The laws have changed a little bit on what marriage is, but if someone is not legally married, they're technically just a third party sitting in that room. The privilege is gone. And so you don't want those people in the room. And you don't want them in the room either, because I found the reason why a lot of those people who are not really spouses, not clients, are in the room, it really is to control the situation. And as an attorney, we have ethical obligations, and we can't let a third party control the litigation. And some of these cases are because of that third party, and the actual client doesn't really want to do the case, and that's something we need to know as a lawyer. I had a case where I walked in the court, and the guy said that he never wanted to have the case, and his father wanted him to have it, and that's the only reason why it got filed. I'm thinking, gee, I'm sitting here ready for a trial, and why is this guy saying this? Why did I spend all my time? So let's keep these conversations just with the client, just with the attorney. You've been listening to the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show. I'm Karl Gerber. I'm really licensed in California. You can get my number. You can look me up at workplacelawyer.org for the old episodes, which are kind of fun to listen to. You see that these people's names keep coming back. I will hear you next Sunday at this time on this station. Thank you for listening.
Because I know what's in me. I don't need no doctor, no, 'cause I know what's in me. I've been too long away from a baby. I'm coming down with a
This show furnished by Karl Gerber and Employment Lawyers Group. Gerber and Employment Lawyers